All right, listen up. Life isn't some fairy tale where you sit around waiting for things to magically happen. The world doesn't care about your excuses, your feelings, or your little problems. It only rewards those who take action, those who enforce their will upon reality. And if you're sitting there wondering why your life is the same year after year, it's because you haven't taken full control. Today, I'm going to give you the 10 rules that will completely transform your life. But let me be clear, these aren't suggestions. They aren't feel-good affirmations. These are laws. Break them and you stay weak. Follow them and you dominate. It's that simple. The first rule of transformation is simple. You must master your mind before you can master your life. And that starts with realizing that every thought you allow into your head matters. Every single one. Every time you doubt yourself, every time you say, I can't, every time you think it's too hard, you are reinforcing weakness. You are building mental chains that will keep you trapped forever. The world is ruthless. It doesn't reward victims. It doesn't care about your sob story. It rewards the strong, the disciplined, the ones who control their own mind. That's why success isn't about luck. It's about psychology. It's about programming yourself for dominance every single day. How do you do that? Simple. Control your inputs. Your mind is like a garden. If you let weeds grow, they will take over and destroy everything. Most of you are letting weeds take root in your brain every single day. Weak thoughts, useless distractions, negativity. If you don't actively remove them and plant seeds of strength, you'll never grow into the man you need to be. The first step is guarding your mind like a fortress. That means cutting out all the garbage that keeps you weak. You don't have time for news designed to make you scared. You don't have time for social media nonsense that makes you envious of people doing better than you. You don't have time for weak people who complain all day but never take action. Your mind should be a temple of strength, not a garbage dump for every useless piece of information thrown your way. Next, you must replace weakness with strength. Feed your mind with things that make you stronger. Read books that teach you about power, strategy, and success. Listen to people who have already conquered the game. If you wouldn't trade places with someone, why would you ever listen to their advice? Most of your friends, family, and even your teachers have no idea how to win in life. They're stuck in the same broken path everyone else is on. Stop listening to losers. Weak men think success is about luck. Strong men know success is about certainty. You have to program your mind for absolute certainty that you will win. There is no maybe, there is no I hope, there is only I will. Money is power. The world revolves around it, whether people want to admit it or not. Those who understand money, how to make it, how to multiply it, and how to protect it, will always have an advantage over those who don't. Weak men like to pretend that money isn't important, that there are more valuable things in life, but that's just an excuse for their own failures. The truth is, money dictates your options, your freedom, your influence, and your ability to control your own destiny. Without money, you are powerless. You are at the mercy of the system, dependent on the scraps it throws your way. But with money, you dictate the rules. You create the life you want. You move how you want, when you want, without asking for permission. Most people stay broke because they have been programmed to see money the wrong way. They have been conditioned to trade their time for it, to work a job, save a little, and hope that one day, decades down the line, they'll have enough to retire. This is a trap. The system wants you working endlessly, paying taxes, barely getting by, and believing that this is just the way things are. But the rich play a different game. They don't trade time for money. They understand that time is the most valuable resource, so they use money as a tool to buy back their time. They create liabilities instead of assets and spend more because they earn more. True wealth comes from cash flow, having money consistently coming in without working for it. The rich don't just earn money, they set up systems that ensure money keeps flowing to them, whether they work or not. The third rule is understanding assets and liabilities. The poor buy liabilities and think they are assets. They buy cars, expensive clothes, luxury items, thinking they are building wealth, when in reality, they are just spending money on things that lose value. The rich invest in assets, things that generate money over time. Real estate, businesses, stocks, intellectual property. These are all assets that grow in value and pay you even when you're not working. If you want to be rich, you have to shift your spending habits. Every time you make money, you should be thinking about how to use it to create more money. If you're buying things that don't generate income, you're moving backward. The fourth rule is multiplication. Making money is one thing, but multiplying it is what separates the truly wealthy from everyone else. The rich don't let money sit in a bank account collecting dust. They put it to work. They invest, they reinvest, they build income streams that feed into each other. If you're only making money from one source, you're vulnerable. You need multiple streams: investments, businesses, digital products, rental income, stocks, whatever it takes to ensure that you are never reliant on just one thing. The goal is to create a system where money is always coming in, no matter what happens. The fifth rule is protection. What's the point of making millions if you lose it all? Too many people make money and then throw it away because they don't know how to protect it. They get caught up in bad deals, they let emotions control their spending, they fail to prepare for taxes, lawsuits, or market downturns. The wealthy understand that keeping money is just as important as making it. They use smart tax strategies, they diversify their assets, they never put all their money in one place, and they always think long term. You have to be strategic, you have to be ruthless with your financial decisions, and you have to understand that one bad mistake can erase years of progress. Most people will never escape financial slavery because they refuse to learn these principles. They want an easy answer, they want a shortcut, but wealth is built through knowledge, strategy, and discipline. The system will always try to keep you broke to make you believe that working harder is the answer, when in reality, working smarter is the key to take control of your financial education. Stop listening to broke people. Stop following the same path as everyone else. Stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a creator, an investor, a builder. The moment you change the way you see money, the moment you start making it work for you instead of working for it, your entire life will change. Your environment shapes you more than you realize. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you have daily, the information you consume, the energy in your surroundings, all of it is programming your mind, whether you are aware of it or not. Most people never become successful because they remain trapped in environments that hold them back. They spend their time around losers, people who complain, who make excuses, who accept mediocrity as if it were their destiny. They absorb the negative energy of those around them, and they don't even recognize that their entire mindset is being poisoned day after day. You can't become a lion if you live among sheep. If you spend your time with weak men, with men who make excuses, with men who blame the system, the government, their circumstances, their past, you will start thinking like them. You will start believing that life is unfair, that success is impossible, that only lucky people make it. This is how mediocrity spreads. It infects you like a virus. You don't even realize it's happening. One day, you were ambitious, you had goals, you wanted to win, but then you started spending time with people who lacked that fire. Over time, they drained your energy. They convinced you that you were crazy for wanting more. They laughed at your dreams, and eventually you started believing them. Look at the people in your life. Are they pushing you forward or holding you back? Are they inspiring you or discouraging you? Are they winners or are they losers? Be brutally honest with yourself. Most people don't want to admit that their friends, their family, their coworkers are the reason they are stuck. But the truth is, if you want to level up, you cannot afford to stay in an environment that doesn't match your vision. You cannot afford to waste time with people who are comfortable being average. Energy is contagious. If you spend time around winners, you start thinking like a winner. You start believing that success is inevitable. You start moving differently, making better decisions, taking action instead of making excuses. But if you spend time around weak people, their mindset infects you. They project their fears onto you. They tell you what you can't do. They will never encourage you to push beyond your limits because they don't want to see you surpass them. They want to keep you at their levels. To face their own failures. Discipline is the foundation of all success. Without it, talent means nothing, motivation is temporary, and potential is wasted. The weak rely on motivation, waiting for the perfect moment, the right mood, the ideal circumstances before they take action. But the strong move regardless of how they feel. They show up when they're tired. They push forward when they don't want to watching. Discipline is the difference between those who talk about success and those who actually achieve it. The world rewards those who are consistent. The man who works every single day, who sticks to his plan, who refuses to let distractions or emotions dictate his actions, will always surpass the man who only works when he feels like it. That's why most people fail. They rely on bursts of energy, short periods of motivation where they think they're going to change their life. They wake up one day and say they're going to start a business. Arise, they don't panic, they execute. If you are not exposing yourself to pressure, if you are not testing yourself daily, you will never develop the toughness needed to succeed. Most people avoid pressure because they don't trust themselves to handle it. They doubt their own abilities. They think that if they take on too much responsibility, they will fail. And because of that, they never take big risks. They never go after what they truly want. They settle for a life that is safe and comfortable, but completely unfulfilling. They stay small because they're afraid of what might happen if they take on more than they think they can handle. Weak men are slaves to their emotions, their doubts, and their fears. They believe every negative thought that enters their mind, and they allow it to dictate their actions. That's why they remain stuck, why they never push forward, why they never achieve anything significant. A strong man understands that his mind is his greatest asset. He knows that if he can control his thoughts, he can control his actions. If he can control his actions, he can control his life. Most people lose the battle in their own heads before they even start. They wake up, and before they've even done anything, they're already making excuses. I don't feel like working out today. I'm too tired to work on my business. It's not the right time to take action. These thoughts flood their minds, and instead of rejecting them, they accept them. as truth. They don't even put up a fight. They let their mind dictate their life, and because of that, they stay in the same place year after year. A winner doesn't allow his mind to sabotage him. He is aware of every thought, and he consciously chooses which ones to believe. He trains his mind to work for him, not against him. Your mind is constantly looking for the easy way out. It wants to avoid discomfort. It wants to avoid effort. It wants to stay in a state of comfort and pleasure. But success doesn't come from comfort. It comes from doing the things you don't want to do, from pushing through when your mind is telling you to quit. Every single day, your mind will try to convince you to take the easy route, to stay comfortable, to avoid struggle. And every single day, you have to fight back. You have to override those thoughts and act in spite of them. That's the difference between winners and losers. People always ask how to develop mental toughness. The answer is simple. You build it by going to war with your mind every day. You build it by refusing to listen to the voice that tells you to quit. You build it by taking action when you don't feel like it. You build it by proving to yourself over and over again that your mind does not control you. Every time you push through discomfort, every time you override a negative thought, every time you choose discipline over weakness, you are strengthening your mind. You are reprogramming yourself to operate on a higher level. Your thoughts determine your reality. If you constantly think like a loser, you will act like a loser, and your life will reflect that. If you believe you can't win, you won't even try. If you believe you're not good enough, you will sabotage yourself every step of the way. Weak men let their negative thoughts dictate their actions, and that's why they fail before they even begin. Strong men program their minds for success. They fill their minds with powerful thoughts. They reinforce their confidence daily. They control the narrative in their own heads. Most people never achieve success because they cannot handle pressure. The moment things get difficult, they start looking for an escape. They seek comfort. They seek an easy why they fail. A man who is a slave to his emotions is not in control of his life. If every decision you make is based on how you feel in the moment, then you are not a man, you are a child. Children throw tantrums when things don't go their way. Children quit when something gets hard. Children refuse to do things unless they feel like it. But a real man does what needs to be done, regardless of his emotions. He doesn't care if he's tired. He doesn't care if he's unmotivated. He doesn't care if the world is against him. He executes no matter what. Most people don't realize that emotions are just signals, not orders. Feeling tired doesn't mean you have to stop. Feeling scared doesn't mean you have to run. Feeling unmotivated doesn't mean you get to sit around and do nothing. But weak men don't understand this. They think their emotions are in control, so they obey them like slaves. They let their fears stop them from taking risks. They let their doubts stop them from believing in themselves. They let their laziness stop them from taking action. And then they wonder why they never achieve anything. You have to understand that your emotions are programmed by your habits. If you spend years giving in to laziness, then laziness will control you. If you spend years avoiding hard things, then fear will control you. If you spend years making excuses, then weakness will control you. But if you train yourself to take action no matter what, then your emotions will no longer have power over you. You will be the one in control. Look at the most successful men in the world. Do you think they feel motivated every day? Do you think they never feel tired, never feel doubt, never feel fear? Of course they do. The difference is they don't care. They act despite their emotions. They have trained themselves to push forward even when they don't feel like it. They understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. That's the difference between winners and losers. A winner doesn't wait until he feels good to take action. He takes action first and the feeling comes later. He doesn't sit around waiting for motivation to hit him. He doesn't wait until he's in the mood to work. He knows that momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. That's why he gets up and does what needs to be done, whether he feels like it or not. And because of that, he wins.